Another right that has been really close to our hearts, especially because of the demographic of most of our leaders being very young, has been the right to education. And how the right to education has been affected by the coronavirus outbreak. And when we look at the shutting down of schools, the shutting down of universities, this has effectively brought to a halt the attainment of the right to education for many. And in our view, and in my view as well, and I here completely agree with the majority of our leaders who also think that it is unthinkable and somewhat an indictment on our country that in the fourth industrial revolution, in an age where internet gives access to resources, that we effectively have the levers of education shut down because we can't be together. And this was close to us because the conversation we intended to have on this day was going to be entitled Digital Dignity. And it was going to be a conversation on the intersection between human rights and technology. And we were going to talk about, the positives and the negatives, but fundamentally, how could we use technology in a way to advance human rights? And in terms of education, it is possible to be able to, through the internet, have lectures, have assignments, give content to people. But then again, the price of data in our country is far too high. And Vodacom can slash it by 30%, and MTN and some of the other companies, can do here and there ad hoc measures. But it is simply too expensive to be connected in our country. And one of our leaders, and I'll read what she said, expressed her perspective and her experience of what the coronavirus has effectively done to her right to education. And she says this, she says, as a student, I feel like the ministers, the president, the University of the Witwatersrand, and my lecturers did me dirty. The world has experienced a lot of pandemics before, and I always wonder, why is it that countries never prepare for such? And I suspect it's because those who can actually prepare the country know that they will live even if they don't prepare, because they have the means. I am told by the government that I should self-isolate. I am told by the university that academic programs are continuing, but I must wash my hands and keep distance. I am told by my lecturers that I have tests and assignments due on the same day, but my residence kicks me out to go home where I don't have Wi-Fi to do my assignments and prepare for my test. So in my final year, with many things to worry about, like where am I going next year, I have to find a way to graduate because the universities and the country did not prepare for this, and they are impeding or hindering me from receiving my right to education. Now, this is the social circumstance of many young people in our country, and leaders in our network have really inspired me in their ability to gather and to work together. Many have been, creating crowd funds and been sourcing means and money from their own fellow classmates who have more to actually provide data for those who do not have. But again here, and in her experience, we are seeing how the systematic problems of our country, the systematic inadequacies, the failure of the executive and of the private sector and the public sector and civil society to work together and be relevant and find sustainable solutions to things like internet access and to things like electronic devices or access to electronic devices has created an inequality whereby in situations such as this, the poor who need education most to move into an economic class that allows them to provide for their families through work are effectively being left stranded. And the response and the leadership from our government and from our universities has been lackluster. And again, in this situation, we see how time and again the black child is left behind. But beyond, the rights of healthcare and education, which are close to the leaders in our network, the coronavirus outbreak and the measures put in by the state to manage these and to curb these have affected a network of rights beyond just healthcare and education. And when we look at how it's effectively shifted public life from how and where we work to how and where we worship, the coronavirus outbreak has changed everything. And citizens have found it necessary to really redo and rethink how they view life. And for many who are privileged in the middle class and above, the outbreak has meant some discomfort. But for those who don't have as much means, who live from hand to mouth, for the millions of the black masses, these measures are impractical and almost impossible to meet. And I want to share with you some of what our leaders have talked about, and I'll only have perhaps read 2 or 3. And one of our female leaders said that she said, "I'm young and I still have a strong immune system. In this period where the world is experiencing